Strangely, no one is saying that Mitsubishi could be the next Nissan, but it appears very, very likely. Here is why. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. And just got one little phrase for you: Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia, China, they're taking that market. And that is Mitsubishi's most important market. In fact, Mitsubishi sells more cars in Southeast Asia than anywhere else in the world. And when you consider the fact that Mitsubishi doesn't sell that many cars, well, yeah, let's have a look at these numbers, guys. First of all, 79% profit drop. The numbers are pretty brutal, right? The headlines are screaming Mitsubishi Motors, once a global powerhouse, is in potential financial collapse. The media is not saying anything about this, but they should be. In their latest quarter, Mitsubishi's operating profit plummeted 79%. Their net income swung to $66.6 million in losses. So forget tariffs for a minute. Forget the US market struggles. The real existential threat to Mitsubishi is not in North America. It's in the one place they have dominated for decades, Southeast Asia. China is here. They've arrived, and China is very aggressive. And they are systematically dismantling Mitsubishi's biggest and most important market, threatening to turn this financial crisis into an absolute death blow. I mean, Chinese car makers are setting up shop in Southeast Asia, but they're building factories there as well. They're taking over existing factories, for example, in Thailand, and then they're actually finding ways of being able to just basically thrash the competition in terms of price, in terms of value for money. YouTube's new algorithm means that you're often not getting all of our videos in your feed. There's 7,500. I'm pretty sure you're probably not seeing a lot of them. In the description, there is a link to our newsletter. Click on that and you can get an update every day of all the latest news in the electric car industry. Here are the bloody numbers, the tariffs, the collapse, right? First of all, let's start with the pain points outlined in Nissan's own financial report. This isn't just a tough quarter, it's a failure, in my opinion, on multiple fronts. First, the US tariffs were a catastrophe, costing them $90 million and crippling their North American sales. But even with that pressure, the company admitted that sliding retail sales across North America, Europe, and Southeast Asia slashed another $99 million from their profits. We're talking US dollars here. They are suffering everywhere, but their solution, they are desperately turning to low-margin fleet sales just to move inventory. This is the definition of a legacy automaker in crisis, sacrificing profit for volume. And this is a company that doesn't really sell that many vehicles worldwide. Having a look at Australia, a market often seen as a bellwether for Southeast Asia. Just last year, Mitsubishi was a top 5 brand. Now, sales have decreased by 16.4%, relegating them to 6th position and falling. They've admitted publicly last week they can't hold their ground against new players from China. And those new players, of course, they are Chinese automakers who are just innovating incredibly quickly. And those Chinese automakers are willing to sell at a loss for as long as they need to. Why does this matter so much? Well, because Southeast Asia, or ASEAN, Asian, is Mitsubishi's last fortress and their single most important car market. Mitsubishi hopes, and I guess I use that word very carefully, to sell 258,000 vehicles in this region for the full fiscal year. That is their biggest market volume goal. For decades, vehicles like the Mitsubishi Triton, the L200 Ute, and the Expander MPV have been the absolute kings in countries like Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines. They built their entire brand identity around ruggedness and reliability in this region. But while Mitsubishi was distracted fighting regulatory battles in the US and watching their stock price collapse, Chinese automakers have landed with a perfectly executed two-pronged attack focused directly on the Southeast Asian customer. This isn't the 1980s, remember. Chinese automakers are not sending cheap, unsafe cars. They are sending quality, high-tech vehicles at unbeatable prices. And they have electric cars that people actually want to buy. Mitsubishi doesn't really. Here's attack number one, the budget EV and the hybrid assault. Chinese brands like BYD, MG, Great Wall Motors, they're offering small, city-friendly electric vehicles and cheap, efficient plug-in hybrids. These new cars are targeting the young. Uh, the young don't have any kind of brand loyalty, and urban buyers as well, who are not buying rugged off-roaders but are looking for cost-effective daily transport. This is the volume segment of the market. Mitsubishi has offered new hybrids, yes, but they are playing catch up in a market that they once defined. The Chinese are using battery technology as their ultimate cost advantage, and charging speed and range and price and everything else. Attack number two, manufacturing and local investment. The Chinese are setting up massive local manufacturing hubs in Thailand and also in Indonesia. They are building factories, creating jobs, and bypassing import duties. The very duties that crippled Mitsubishi in the United States. They are cementing themselves as local players, gaining goodwill, and delivering cars faster and cheaper than the Japanese can by relying on legacy import networks. So, this is the strategic failure we're seeing from Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi's strategy, by contrast, it looks archaic. While they focus on low margin fleet sales to make their quarterly reports look marginally better, they're neglecting the retail fight where brand loyalty is won and where you can make actual real profits. They're relying on old platforms, old tech, and brand legacy in a market that is rapidly evolving. I mean, look at what they're doing. In many countries, they just rebadge other cars. Right, their latest ASX, which is the most popular car in many regions, is now a Renault. It's a rebadged Renault, and it's literally 28% more expensive than the previous version. People are just writing it off instantly. Mitsubishi's old platforms, old tech, and brand legacy is, well, what they're hoping will work in a market that is rapidly evolving. It's being disrupted, and there's not much they appear to be able to do about that. The young, new middle class in Jakarta and Manila aren't impressed by a legacy of ruggedness. They're impressed by a 10-inch screen or 15-inch screen, low running costs, affordability, a price tag that undercuts Mitsubishi by thousands of dollars. The weakening yen may help Mitsubishi's exports remain profitable in the United States, but it does very little to stop Chinese brands from undercutting them on the showroom floor in Bangkok. Their profitability is eroding precisely because the Chinese are selling cheaper, more appealing, technologically superior cars. And honestly, guys, can you see this changing anytime soon? I can't. Mitsubishi's own forecast shows them hoping to expand in Southeast Asia by just 3%, while facing a full-on Chinese assault. That seems incredibly unlikely. Meanwhile, their profits are down 79%. They're losing top five status in many regions. They're sinking their efforts into desperate fleet sales. The money, the tech, and the strategic focus at Mitsubishi have all shifted. Mitsubishi is clinging to the past while the Chinese are aggressively colonizing the future of Southeast Asian mobility. If they lose this market, they lose their financial lifeline. Keep in mind, Mitsubishi only have about 1% global market share in the car industry. It's not many vehicles they actually sell annually. This isn't just a tough quarter for Mitsubishi, guys. This is, in my opinion, an existential crisis. I don't see any way back. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Can Mitsubishi actually survive this wave? Can they pivot fast enough? I mean, I personally think Mitsubishi as a car brand will probably cease to exist within the space of 10 years. That's what I would predict. But do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.